Hello everyone! Today we have an incredibly interesting video, a Pumpkin Boss vs Pumpkin Boss 2 and against the new, most mysterious Pumpkin Boss 3. Yes, today we will compare all three of them, see who is the strongest, most dangerous and generally who is the real king of all bosses in Melon Playground. Be sure to watch until the end, because at the end I'll show you the coolest theory about Pumpkin Boss 3 that you definitely didn't expect. And let's start, of course, with the very first one, a classic pumpkin boss. It was with him that the whole story of these pumpkin monsters began. This boss is an orange huge pumpkin with red eyes and an evil smile. When he appears, the atmosphere immediately becomes creepy of darkness, fog, and the feeling that some kind of nightmare is really starting on the map. Pumpkin Boss moves smoothly, as if floating in the air, and shoots powerful orange sprays that deal heavy damage and can easily destroy characters or break weapons if you stand too close. Many players have already noticed that if you use a minigun with increased damage and bullet speed against him, he can be defeated in just a few seconds. But if you try a conventional weapon, the battle can drag on for a long time. Pumpkin Boss doesn't have any superpowers, but because of his stable attack and speed, he becomes the perfect first boss, strong enough to surprise newcomers, and not too difficult to defeat. And that's the funny thing, despite the fact that Pumpkin Boss is the first, it feels like it's alive. It's like he has his own anger and personality. He doesn't just shoot, he seems to freak out when he gets hit, and the more damage he gets, the more often he attacks. This makes the fight with him especially dynamic and fun. So the first boss is a classic. It seems to symbolize the beginning of this whole pumpkin saga. But then it became much more interesting when the second one appeared, Pumpkin Boss 2, a cyborg with a metal body and red eyes, which already shoots real lightning. And it was from this moment that a new era began when bosses became smarter, faster, and much more dangerous. And we'll talk about him in the second part. But before we move on, be sure to write in the comments, who do you like more, the usual Pumpkin Boss or Cybernetic Boss 2? And don't rewind, it's going to be much more interesting, because electric attacks, the theory of Pumpkin Boss 3 and a bunch of secrets that you definitely haven't heard about are waiting for us ahead. And now we turn to the second boss, Pumpkin Boss 2, the Cyborg Pumpkin, whom many consider to be the coolest of all. And if the first boss was purely organic, a living, evil pumpkin with orange smoke, then this one is a completely different matter. It's not just a pumpkin, it's a huge metal, steel, and cold. It looks like someone created it specifically to avenge the defeat of the first boss. And the most interesting thing is that his red eyes burn brighter than any other, and he literally glows when he attacks. Unlike the first one, Pumpkin Boss 2 doesn't fire regular sprays that releases lightning bolts that strike the entire area. If you get hit by such an attack, the weapon can simply explode, and the only salvation is to keep your distance. Now the most interesting thing is how to defeat him. Most players use the glowing staff, because it does more damage to electrical targets. And yes, this boss is indeed considered electric, meaning it is weak against glowing or energy attacks. If you hit him with a regular minigun, you can spend a lot of time, but the staff literally melts his armor. There is a real difficulty. If the first boss was evil but predictable, then this one feels like a ruthless machine. But there are also many secrets associated with this boss. For example, some have noticed that when he dies, a strange flicker appears on the map for a couple of seconds, as if part of his code does not disappear, but simply goes underground. And now many people have a theory that this is a hint that Pumpkin Boss 3 is hidden somewhere in the game files. Because if you look closely, the metal parts of the second boss don't just look like armor, they look more like broken parts of something bigger. And one more detail, an antenna sticks out on its upper part. Perhaps it was she who was used to contact the third boss, as if Pumpkin Boss 2 was transmitting a signal, calling someone stronger. And if you think about it, it makes sense. The first is just a monster, the second is a machine, and the third should be a mixture of these two, half organic, half mechanical. So Pumpkin Boss 2 is not just an upgrade, it's a transitional stage. He's like a bridge between a live pumpkin and a real hybrid. And now it's time to move on to the most mysterious, Pumpkin Boss 3, which no one knows anything about yet, except that its file appeared on the 31st. So don't turn off the video, the most interesting thing will happen next. We will analyze all the guesses why the third boss has not yet appeared in the game, and what needs to be done to possibly summon him. And at the end, I'll show you exactly what I noticed in the files, and why this could be the scariest boss in the history of Melon Playground. And now the most interesting thing begins, a Pumpkin Boss 3. The very third boss that the entire Melon playground is talking about right now. And you know, the strangest thing is that no one has seen him in person yet, but a file with his name appeared on the 31st. Just think about it, it's not a coincidence. It is on Halloween night, when all the secrets are revealed. When the pumpkin theme reaches its peak, a new boss appears in the game, and not just a pumpkin, but something new, a hybrid of metal and destruction. And that's where the guesses begin. Many people are sure that Pumpkin Boss 3 is a broken cyborg, the result of the explosion of the second boss. After all, if you remember when Pumpkin Boss 2 died, a flash flashed on the map, and some of its parts literally went underground. Perhaps it was there, under the map, that the third boss appeared. Imagine the parts of the first living pumpkin and the metal fragments of the second joined, and a crazy hybrid appeared, which is now waiting in the wings to get out. According to the descriptions from the files, Pumpkin Boss 3 can be broken, with cracks and metal inserts, and his eyes burn unevenly, as if he is half alive, half a machine. And here the most important thing is that he may not just attack, but reprogram all the objects around him. That is, if the boss used to shoot at the player, now everything that you save nearby can turn against you. Did you have an NPC friend? He can just get up and start attacking you. Your weapon, it can glitch. And that's what makes Pumpkin Boss 3 the most dangerous of all. But how do you call it? Here's the theory behind the theory. Some people think that you need to collect all the items related to pumpkins, decorations, a thrower, and lay them out in the shape of a head. Others say that you need to defeat the first and second boss in a row without dying in order to activate the hidden timer, after which the shadow of the third will appear on the map. And there is even a hunch that you need to wait for a thunderstorm on the Dark Forest map, because it is during thunderstorms that lightning strikes more often, which means that energy is transferred underground to where the third boss may be hidden. But there is a detail that no one noticed. If you look closely at the texture of Pumpkin Boss 2, you can see a scratch in the lower left corner that looks like the letter R. And it's not just a pixel, it's visible even when zoomed in. Perhaps this is the first letter of the word rebuild or restoration. And if you think about it, it's perfect for the story of Pumpkin Boss 3. After all, it's literally assembled from the wreckage of the previous two, reborn to finish what the first has started. Now the question is, what do we get for defeating him? There's a lot of guesses here. The most logical ones are new items, Pumpkin Core, for example, or Cyber Pumpkin Launcher, an improved version of the usual one. Someone says that the reward will not be weapons, but a whole set of cosmetics, the heads of all three bosses, which can be put on the characters. And to be honest, it sounds really cool. Imagine your character in the game wearing a Pumpkin Boss 3 mask, it's just legendary. But there are also scary theories. Some people believe that if you defeat all three bosses in a row, a secret inscription may appear in the game, or even a new window with a warning that hints that the story does not end there. It's like someone's watching. And now everyone is discussing whether there could be a fourth boss, saying that if the third is a hybrid, then the fourth could be something completely different, the creator of these bosses. Something that has been behind them all this time. And now the most important thing is not to turn off the video, because it is at the end that I will tell you what thing I noticed when I checked the Pumpkin Boss 3 model. Yes, I did not find it in the game, but when I opened its file, there was a strange mention of the string pumpkin furry mode in the code. And if this is really the case, it means that he will have a second form, perhaps even with a change in color and attacks. And if confirmed, Pumpkin Boss 3 will become the most powerful creature in the entire Melon playground. And you know what? Maybe we've all seen his power before, but we just didn't notice it. Maybe these strange lags on the map, flickering objects, or disappearing objects are not errors, but hints that the third boss is already waking up. So don't rush to leave. Right now I'm going to show you footage where, according to one subscriber, he managed to notice something similar to the shadow of Pumpkin Boss 3 at the moment when he defeated the second boss. And if that's really the case, then everything is just beginning.